Hello there, Jets fans. Welcome to episode number 46 of the JetStream podcast. I am Travis Rubinik. Today is October 19th. I'm here with Joe Clark and Neil Noonan. And I'm really hyped up on caffeine, so let's do this, boys.
Always a good start.
Oh, it's a fantastic start. I was just telling you guys right before we started recording, we're 1 day removed from that episode we recorded last year when I was super drugged on T3s.
And now you're high on
super
caffeine.
drugged on I'm high on caffeine in life, Joe.
Oh, yeah.
High on life.
Of course.
You know what? It's a great time.
Yep.
It's just a wonderful, wonderful day. It's beautiful outside. I don't understand how this week, every single day, it was gorgeous outside, and then the Bombers game day comes, and it's like freezing cold.
It was brutal.
And we were just sitting there, and the wind was literally blowing right into our face the whole time.
We left at halftime.
Yeah, we left at halftime, which apparently was a bad decision because they did pretty well.
It was a good decision.
Yeah.
We were not prepared.
I was prepared. You guys were freezing.
Yeah.
I was perfectly fine. I was sitting there. I had the Leaf game on my phone, so I was like half watching the Bombers, and in the whole like 8 hours of they don't play because it's football, I was watching the Leafs.
Yeah.
And
I think most of us were just watching the Leaf game on your phone and not really
true.
paying attention to the football game.
Let's be honest here, though, the Bombers season's pretty much over.
Yeah.
Even after that hot start,
Yeah.
everyone's excited. Where were we? 5-1.
6-1 to start
Still
the season.
6-1. Yikes!
Yeah, but quite similar to how the Bombers kind of fell apart. The Jets also cannot score points, so
Yep.
get used to that, Jets fans. Well, at least they can't score a lot. The Jets have 7 goals so far this year in 4 games, and 6 of them came against your boy Joe, Mike Smith.
My boy Mike Smith. Oh my God.
Who's still dragging you down a little bit in.
Somehow
good old
Travis
JetStream
is killing me in save percentage. Well, he's not killing me. He was killing me.
Not anymore because I have Ben Scrivens and
Yeah, I
Corey
was
Schneider
getting
on
killed in
starts.
save percentage because Mike Smith had a 777 after that first game. I'm slowly coming back to life,
Yeah.
but he's still beating me by like 0.001%.
Yeah, it's not pretty.
Brutal.
Yeah, not a very good start
No.
offensively for the Jets. Why do you think that why do you think it's been such an issue with the Jets for scoring so far to start the season?
Well,
'Cause it's been a problem.
it's definitely been a problem. I want to say that, it sucks to be missing Evander Kane, and I think that he obviously offers a big threat offensively.
Yeah.
So that's brutal that he's gone. But I mean, we've seen it in the past with all scorers. But I mean, Wheeler is a scorer and he's streaky, and right now he's not doing his thing, right? And he scored in the first game, and then that's it. So he's not really being hot at the right time, and I mean, you want your scorers to sort of start off the year.
No one's hot right now.
Yeah, exactly. You want your scorers to start off the year hot because obviously that would be awesome, get you rolling. But I mean, right now he's just not, and none of them are.
Yeah, it's funny. After the game on Friday night, I tweeted out, kind of sarcastically, but kind of expecting it. What do you think the story is going to be tomorrow? Why the hell is Chris Thorburn playing on the third line? Or why is Blake Wheeler not scoring any goals? And literally the next morning, article come out, why is no one scoring goals? Why is, this guy needs to step up. This guy needs to step up. Or, no, I was like, why is Chris Thorburn on the third line? Or everybody needs to step up, basically. Or Blake Wheeler needs to step up his game. And the very next day, free press, Jet section, first thing that pops out, everybody needs to step up their goal scoring. And it highlights Wheeler and Scheifele and all these guys. And it's like, I get it, but like you said, scoring's coming in at a tough rate. But let's break down the Jets' lines right now. You've got a line that is forced to play all the tough minutes in Ladd, Little, and Frolik. So
because they don't have any other line that can play those minutes.
They don't. They're playing the tough minutes. It's the way it is. Scoring from them is great, and it usually happens. But that's not the rule you put them in all the time. They're not set in a position to score. Then you do have your scoring line, which, if I'm not mistaken, I believe they were going to the third period. They had not taken an even strength face-off in the offensive zone yet.
Wow.
Which is a problem if they're your scoring line.
Yeah, no kidding.
You then have a line with potential, and they've played pretty well with Perreault and Lowry, that's being dragged down by the anchor of all anchors of Chris Thorburn. Yeah. The single anchor of all anchors. The kind of anchor that gets stuck in rocks and weed and you need to cut off your boat, Joe.
Let's not go there.
No, you have to tell a story now.
No,
not telling a story about Joe's screwing up fishing.
That was not my fault. We're not telling the story.
I want to hear this.
Tell the story,
I'll
Joe.
tell the story.
Thank you, Joe.
So we were out fishing one day.
Joe's a lot better fisherman than this story we saw
2 weekends ago. Yeah, this is like a real black mark on my fishing history.
So obviously we have to bring it up.
2 weeks ago I was out at my friend's cabin, and it was myself, my friend and my one other friend, and we were fishing. It was pretty bad conditions. It was I don't know if people remember what the weather was like 2 weekends ago, but if you went out a little bit east on your way to Kenora, there was snow on the ground, and the wind was pretty bad. It was cold. It was brutal. But, we were out at his cabin already, so we're like, well, there's nothing else to do. Let's go fishing. The water's still open, so let's do it. So we go out there, and we find a nice little spot that we've never tried before. Figured we'd throw a couple pickerel rigs down, maybe see if we can snag ourselves something to eat for dinner. And so we go out. All three of us throw the anchor down, first of all, because we're in the wind. So we have to throw the anchor down.
It's a natural thing to do.
Yeah,
Makes
so,
sense.
we were getting just owned by wind. So we throw the anchor down, and we knew we were kind of close to some rocks, but we thought we had the depth finder out, and we thought we were kind of off the ridge where we...
Just to clarify, this is a lake you're familiar to, but you're in an area of the lake
Yeah.
that we haven't fished before.
Right, yeah. Familiar to the lake, but never fished this part of it. And so we went to this... We had our depth finder out, found a nice little spot where it sort of drops off, and dropped the anchor, and I guess dropped it in just perfectly the wrong spot. Threw all of our hooks down, and all three of us were snagged within probably 5 minutes. So we got all those.
But just to clarify, for those of you who don't fish, when you have one snag, it's a big enough pain in the butt because you usually have to like go over towards it and get yourself
a better angle.
free. Like you gotta get a better angle on the line and get yourself off of whatever you're hooked on. When three people who are generally not going to be in the same area are all snagged, it's a shit show.
You're screwed. So somehow we all managed to get unsnagged, which was pretty good. That was nice. And then we're like, well, you know what? This wind is horrible here. Let's just go to a more protected area. Maybe we won't be so cold and miserable. So we go to pull the anchor up and yank on the line. Nothing. I'm like, what? It's like hard. Like I can't pull it. I'm like pulling the boat towards the anchor. I'm like, oh no, this is not good. And so the anchor was snagged in some rocks, and we came at it from like every single angle possible. We like went around it, pulled from the other side, pulled around, pulled up, pulled down, did everything we could. Spent like probably 10 minutes.
Oh no!
Trying to get this anchor up, and then we just said screw it. And
What, you swam back?
No. We just cut the anchor off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Which, if you knew our friend Shane,
Yeah.
how angry he must have been,
Yeah, he was...
just furious in this whole situation is absolutely hilarious.
So anyways, we were gonna have to buy a new anchor.
This was a nice anchor.
Yeah, it was nice.
That's a cut.
Oh well, that you win some, you lose some.
But that perfectly encapsulates what Chris Thorburn has been doing to that third line.
Fair enough. And you know what? Actually, that's a very good way to put it because with the three people getting snagged before you even realize that the anchor is stuck, it's kind of the same with the Jets. Everybody else is not performing, and then you also have to put on top of it that there's this anchor holding everybody down.
That's a hell of a metaphor.
Oh man,
that was not planned, but
that just worked out really well.
Worked out really well.
But yeah, then you do have the fourth line that's starting like basically every chance they get in the offensive zone, which a fourth line that is not going to score goals because it is Anthony Peluso and Jim Slater, and who's been playing on the fourth line and just completely drawing a blank here. Who cares because they aren't doing anything.
Gagliardi,
Gagliardi. So a guy who literally had like the worst shooting percentage of life. He had like a 3% shooting percentage last year, something brutal. So you don't expect him to score. He does other things well, but how are you supposed to score when that's what you've got set up right now? Like.
Yeah.
It's a problem that, yes, losing Evander Kane is obviously an issue, but him disappearing should not be goodbye scoring. Like, you need to... I don't understand why your solution to everything is promoting Chris Thorburn, and I don't get how that's supposed to solve your problems, but I'm not the coach.
Paul Maurice says he plays a simple, easy-to-read game and can help any line. And I don't know.
I don't see how he's helping any line.
I don't know what's that supposed to mean.
Other than not playing defense and,
not being able
to handle a puck, period.
Yeah, I just don't get that. Whatever.
How much of this blame do you put on Chevy for... Actually, let's do this to it. Do you put more blame on Chevy for not providing more options and signing Chris Thorburn and having guys like Anthony Peluso and these guys who don't score throughout the lineup? Or do you put more of the pressure on Paul Maurice for... assuming, again, that he's the one who makes the decision to send Eric O'Dell to the AHL. Mm-hmm. He's the one who's supposed to be mixing up these lines and playing with things and not promoting Chris Thorburn. Who do you place more blame on?
When it comes to putting Chris Thorburn up the lineup, that's Paul Maurice. I mean, he has personnel, O'Dell specifically, who can do a better job of playing that role. So that's on his shoulders, I'd say, completely. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty brutal when your management group, when the best they can give you to promote up your line is Chris Thorburn, according to them, anyways. That's pretty bad.
I'm also kind of curious as to why. Actually, I'm gonna take this a bit personal. We'll get to that in a second. They are apparently coming into the game tonight with new lines.
Yeah, everything's getting shuffled up, which you should expect when you're not scoring.
Exactly, it shouldn't be a mind-blowing situation.
Yeah.
So apparently at practice yesterday or whenever they practiced, they had Buff with Ladd and Little. They moved Perreault to the wing, and he's now playing with Scheifele and Wheeler, which I'll explain why I find that interesting in a second. They now moved Lowry to center, which to me makes sense because why else did you have him playing center in the AHL all of last year? With Gagliardi and Frolik. And then you got your fourth line of the great players that are Slater, Thorburn, and Peluso. Again, that fourth line, to me, I think if you switch out one of those two fighters and have Halstuck there, switch out Thorburn, it should be in my situation, but I don't think that's going to happen because $1.2 million for 3 years. And have Halstuck there, I think it looks a bit better. Yeah. But again, it's whatever. You know what it is with the Jets. Their fourth line is going to be their fourth line. They're not going to play much.
Exactly.
Whatever.
So it's nice to at least see Thorburn back down on the fourth line.
Exactly. What I find interesting now is that Scheifele and Wheeler duo, in my opinion, they've been a good line. They've produced a little bit. Again, not goals and such, but they've been in the offensive zone. They've been pushing it. I'm actually pretty interested to see the Perreault effect on that line because Perreault has been fantastic this year, possession-wise at least. Yeah. Whoever he's been playing with has been great. That's fine with me. So you've got Perreault and Scheifele together. Scheifele, I'm still not convinced has been a great possession guy, but he's been setting up people. I think that is a solid line. Ladd, Little, and Buff is interesting to me. I'm honestly not sure what to expect. I mean, it's three guys that have played together minimally. We'll see how it works out. I don't know how you're going to deploy that line. I think Ladd and Little are still going to see a lot of the tough defensive minutes.
Yeah.
And we'll see how Buff reacts to that. What's interesting to me is going to be that third line because now you're taking, in my opinion, the guy who's been driving a lot of the possession, and that's Matthew Perreault, bumping him up, if you look at it that way, moving Lowry, who's pretty unproven in a lot of aspects, into the center role, putting another good possession guy with him in Frolik, and then a guy who's generally a solid possession guy but doesn't score a lot in Gagliardi. In my opinion, if Lowry, Gagliardi, and Frolik, this is going to sound kind of silly, but it's 2/3 of a great fourth line. And with Frolik, is that good enough to become a third line, or is that kind of we'll see.
You never really think of Frolik as being on a fourth line, right? I mean, he's got that possession side of his game, and he's super great in the neutral zone.
I think in Chicago he was a third line guy.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, you should think at least third line in the Jets lineup.
Exactly.
I don't really see him, but like you say, Gagliardi and Lowry on the other hand, those are two guys who would slot in nicely on a fourth line.
Yeah, and just great kind of. I hate this term, but role players. They're good supportive players.
That's what they are.
They keep the puck out of your zone. Or so far, what we've seen. Lowry's a big ball. I think Lowry's played great to start the year.
Yep.
I don't want to say if they could start scoring because I don't want to put that kind of pressure on guys like Lowry or Frolik, and I don't think Gagliardi's guy is going to put up a lot of points, if really any, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
But do you think they start kind of a line like that? If Lowry can kind of prove to be that big dominant center force that every team wants to see, maybe you start taking away some of those tough assignments from Ladd, Little, and Buff, maybe?
Yeah, depending on who's matching up against who, you could possibly change things up with who you're line matching, right?
Exactly.
It depends on personnel for the other team, right? But
personally, I'd rather see an offensive zone push from any of those three lines rather than an offensive push from the fourth line.
Exactly.
Which, again, I don't know when you're ever going to play the fourth line and not get destroyed. Maybe just stick them to neutral zone face-off, possibly, and then have them dump and chase if they happen to get the puck. Maybe Slater can actually win a few face-offs, dump the puck down, and see what happens, because I don't see where anything's going to happen out of that fourth line. But any of those other three lines, you at least have someone who has, in the past, put up points and can be a presence in front of the net and create something. So
something interesting that Garrett Hull tweeted out earlier today is just a little poll. He said only 2 regular minute players who have played in every game so far this season have over 50% open play possessions for score close minutes. And then just asked everybody to guess who they thought it was.
Perreault and Lowry.
And it No. Perreault and Gagliardi.
Wow.
The two new guys
Huh.
are the only guys above 50% in terms of possession numbers at 5v5 close score
Gagliardi,
situations.
I've really liked Gagliardi so far.
Absolutely. And nobody, by the way, I don't think, I looked at most of the answers here, and I don't think really anyone answered with Gagliardi, but almost everybody who answered had Perreault in there.
Yeah. Because Perreault's been fantastic.
Yeah.
Gagliardi has given the Jets... I think he's a big reason why the penalty kill has actually looked good. Yeah, they haven't been scored on. It's easy to say they've looked good without they haven't been scored on. But
obviously, yeah.
He's making... He makes good plays. His stick's been in passing lanes consistently. Like, I think a big reason as to why the penalty kill has been so good it is, and why Pavlik's as a cover... I'll get to Pavlik in a second, but as to why his numbers have been so good, have been because of the way the penalty kills worked, and the way that guys like Gagliardi and Slater's looked great on that penalty kill unit too. They've been able to add just a little bit of extra, that hustle to the puck, getting it out of the zone. They've used their speed and they keep it out in the other end. It's been impressive to me how they've kind of kept things working and kept pushing and just they played well in my opinion. So another question that I'm kind of really curious about with these lineup decision is why the heck have the defensive pairs not changed?
Yeah.
They have looked brutal. And it stayed the same until the very end of the game when they put Buff on there because they needed offense, I guess. Like, any possible idea? Like,
yeah, well, obviously a big problem is them not scoring, but I think we said on the last podcast that their main issue is the defensive group looks terrible.
Yeah.
Horrible, but...
Well, right now I think that's changed to their inability to score for their main issue. But yeah, their defense has looked bad.
Yeah, exactly. And, I mean, there's a difference between your offense... not scoring and looking bad, because you can still have your offensive guys driving offense, but just not capitalizing.
Yeah, their possession hasn't been terrible.
Exactly.
They've looked like that game against Nashville. They looked like they should have scored a few goals. Like Pecorino played great.
Oh yeah, so. Well, you can expect that. But it's strange to me that those pairings haven't gotten moved around. I mean, clearly, maybe the coaching staff is wanting to instill some confidence in these guys that they think that they can work with the assignments that they're given. I don't know, but
I don't know.
There's not a lot of flexibility also in this group
That's
of
very
defensemen.
True.
So I mean, you're limited with your options.
Yeah, I just found it really absolutely hilarious. The situations where the Jets need to score, power plays, and at the end of the game when they needed a goal to kind of get back into things. Nashville, their solution is always Bufflin on the point.
Yeah.
So I guess you could put Bufflin on the point, but only when goals are important.
Yes.
Otherwise. Nah, apparently goals aren't always important or something. No. I don't know what the deal is.
I don't know.
Because
it's weird. That whole Buff situation is just one big
stupid.
contradiction.
It's stupid.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's dumb. It's stupid. We're not going there. Positives, though. Let's get a little bit of positives when we talk about the Jets here before we kind of carry on. Like we said earlier, the PK, in my opinion, yes, it's easy to say because they haven't been scored against. They've looked solid.
Yeah.
They've looked good. It hasn't been a gong show. They've looked a lot better than the power play, in my opinion, which is still 100% reliant on Bufflin taking clappers from the point. I know I just said we didn't need to be positive, but the second, again, funny things with Bufflin, the second he is either moving the puck himself down low or not on the ice for a power play, everybody else moves. It's hilarious. The second it's not, okay, let's just feed Bufflin at the point and just let him take clappers, the power play looks dangerous.
Like a power play.
It looks like a power play. People are moving their feet. They're cutting through lanes. They're getting in front of the net. It looks way better.
Yeah.
The second Bufflin stands at the point, everyone stands still and just looks for passes to Buff. That's got to be coaching.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get how everything just magically changes when Buff moves downstairs. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. But again, I'm not the coach, so I can't make these decisions.
Well, and clearly Buff can play. He doesn't have to play the point on the power play. We saw in Chicago.
Exactly.
He didn't need to play the point. He just messed around in front of the net and caused havoc for everyone on the other team.
Which is hilarious because everyone likes talking about how great he was in Chicago. Well, again, the only reason you remember him from Chicago was because on the power play, he stood in front of Roberto Luongo and caused shit.
You know what? The only reason you remember him is because of Roberto Luongo.
Exactly. That's the only reason.
Because Roberto Luongo is the kind of guy who says those kind of things and brings it out to the media. If it was some other kind of goalie that, never would say, oh yeah, that pisses me off when he does this, but Luongo, he's very interactive.
Yeah.
And he says these things and he tells you exactly what he's actually feeling, and he's done that many times in his career. He's very outspoken with the media.
Great Twitter follow, by the way.
Yeah, he's very outspoken with the media and on Twitter. And so if this is a different goalie, maybe we don't even hear about this controversy.
Or if it wasn't happening in the playoffs,
Yeah.
nobody would know who the heck he was.
Exactly. And so all of a sudden, Bufflin is just Bufflin.
It's just funny. It's funny to me. He puts up
Yeah.
the best numbers as a Jet on defense, and on power plays is most effective in front of the net. But on power plays, you put him on defense, and then in regular situations, you put him as a forward.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Yeah.
There's
nothing to
I don't understand why
yeah.
Thorburn gets moved up. I don't understand the usage of Bufflin. There's just things I don't comprehend. But yeah, back to that whole positive thing. Pavel's put up good numbers.
Yeah, he's looked good.
Goaltending is not Neil's biggest issue on the fantasy league.
I was just gonna say.
It's like his only non-issue.
Yeah, it's his only non-issue is Andre Pavlik on that fantasy team.
I got more saves than Trevor right now. And yeah, Pavlik's at a 919 right now.
He's sitting at a 919.
Decent.
I would be eating my socks.
You would be close.
I
well,
put
if
up
it
my
ended today.
Yeah, if it ended today. Again, we had the same situation last year where he looks good at times and falls
That's
apart.
true, yeah.
I put up my first goalie performance tracker of the year on Friday, so go check out Arctic Ice and you can look at that. I do give Pavlik his praise. He has played well to start the year for the most part. He's put up good numbers.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, when I look at it, and I did a fair job, for those of you who are about to rip on me, I did break down a couple of goals against where it was very clearly the defense's fault. And I have a couple more that I can point out for next week when I do Hutch's first performance tracker of the year stuff. But there are situations watching Pavlik and watching specifically the goals he allows where you look at it and you say, that's the old Pavlik still. First of all, it's his blocker is getting picked apart. 50% of the goals against him up until Friday, so not including the Nashville game, were all blocker side.
Yeesh.
So that was the same tendency last year. I think by far the most goals he allowed was on his blockers. So probably should have worked on that a little bit more than running an extra half kilometer a day to lose some weight. But whatever, I'm not going to get into that. But things like just putting himself out of position, assuming too much, and guessing too much as a goalie, and it's biting him in the butt. And I know it's just little things, and we were talking about it in the comment section of the article a little bit. On one of the goals, I think it was the second goal against Arizona, it was a deflection in front of the net, and it ended up being tapped into an open net, and everybody just kind of brushed that one aside. For some reason, it was the first goal against Arizona everybody hated, when it was the entire team of the Jets was just watching the puck behind the net, and they passed it out in front, wide open.
And then Trudeau was
and
like,
then,
I'm
Trudeau
going to
stood
stand
right
directly
in front of Pavlik.
Hey, Pavlik, I'm going to stand with my butt directly in your face.
I have a perfect picture.
Yeah, it's
where
fantastic.
It's
All
literally,
you see is Truba's body and then Andre Pavlik's arms.
yeah, and then the puck going top.
Yeah.
It's like, there's no way he's seeing that puck.
Just not even possible.
But I also break down the second goal of that game, and the puck gets deflected in front. But when you watch Pavlik, he's in perfect position to play deflections no matter what it is. But once he gets deflected, he makes this huge assumption that the puck wasn't going to get touched. And you see it. His head goes down. He makes himself like he's like a goalie does when he's catching a puck, and then just slides out of the net. And I just don't. It's stuff like that where I'm like, why are you making that assumption? There's a guy in front of you. You see the guy in front of you. Stop assuming he's not going to touch the puck. These are NHL players. He's probably, if he's uncontested, which he was, again, defense probably should have been on him, but still, don't make those assumptions, and then it doesn't look nearly as bad on yourself. And then the second goal that I kind of it was one of the ones against the Sharks, I think. I think it was against the Sharks, where he has a clear lane, he's looking at the puck, and the shot's coming, and rather than doing the logical thing, which is go into your butterfly, which has been the way goalies have done it since like the 90s or since 2000 or whenever it was, go into the butterfly, take away the bottom of the net. The only way you're going to stop a puck if you jump up is if it gets deflected up, which is probably going over the net anyways. But he pops himself up and does this little like groundhog, I can't remember who calls it, the little groundhog move where you like poke your head up and try to like somehow let it hit you, which makes no sense because then you're leaving the whole bottom of the net for deflections open.
Yeah.
He pops his head up like he wants to catch it in his chest, and it goes between his legs, despite the fact that he sees there's traffic in front of him. Mm-hmm. It's decision making like that I argued to whoever, I think I was talking to Tim, that I kind of pointed out that those are the things that goalies like Henrik Lundqvist and a lot of the time Carey Price, those are the decisions they make that make them upper echelon goaltenders. They don't assume anything. They stay their position. They don't read and guess.
Yeah.
They say, okay, well, I'm going to play the odds. I'm going to go down, make myself big. Odds are the pucks are going to hit me or go wide. Those are the things that make it from that at league average goaltender to that next upper echelon up with Lundqvist, Bishop, those big name goaltenders, and then it's those stinker goals that Pavelec lets in that gets you that third level of 900 save percentage goaltending.
And when you see lights out goaltending, like when Carey Price goes on one of his trademark streaks of being unbelievable, or Henrik Lundqvist, or
Just
whoever,
the way he is.
Whenever you see a goalie playing and you hear it by commentators all the time, like he's in the zone or whatever, they're not. It looks like they're not trying. They're hardly even moving. It seems, because they're doing all those things that you're talking about. They're not.
That's why everyone loves Connor Hellebuck.
Yeah, exactly. Like they don't overcommit. They just read the play, they follow, and they make the high percentage play.
It's that less flailing thing that people are saying they're seeing in Pavelic's game, which, he's not flailing around as much, but he's still making poor decisions.
Yeah, exactly. So when a goalie's good, it looks like they're not doing anything.
Yeah.
And they're hardly ing, and that's when they're at their best, because they're just doing little things right.
Exactly. And I don't want to poop all over the Pavelec parade right now. I'm just saying, like, I'm still seeing some of those same issues, and it concerns me going forward to thinking at all that this is sustainable, which I hope it is. I hope he pulls this off, because once goal scoring starts to happen, the Jets do have a very low PDO right now. The possession numbers, they're not so great.
Yeah.
But again, if he can keep this goaltending up, the Jets do have the capabilities of their forwards to put up points, and that would give them a chance to succeed. So, how many times, again, I'll say it again, how many times throughout our conference previews did we say, well, their defense is iffy, but their goaltending's solid and their forwards are solid, so they probably have a shot at making the playoffs.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
every team.
Yep.
So,
there's defensive question marks all over the league.
Again, tough division.
Yeah.
But it's all over the place. You see it happen all the time. So Colorado came first in the Central last year with it. So speaking of the Avalanche, Semyon Varlamov is on IR right now.
Yep.
And then their backup, Reto Vera, he's hurt.
He got hurt it was minutes into the game that he started after Varlamov got hurt.
It almost annoys me that the Colorado Avalanche are going to be brutal if...
No, because I was thinking that too. I'm like, now people are going to have an excuse. And Travis is going to be like, no, it's not because of the goal.
Exactly. It annoys me that that's going to be their ultimate excuse, because they were going to fall off anyways. But depending on how long these guys are hurt, it's going to be bad. Yeah. And they're getting bit in the butt right now. So there's been some rumors floating around. Marty Brodeur still wants to play. So I was looking at some of his numbers. He had a 901
It's
save
not
percentage
good.
last
It's
year.
not good. None of the numbers are good.
If Marty Brodeur played for the Colorado Avalanche last year.
Oh, no.
And they allowed the same number of shots.
Yeah.
And Marty Brodeur played at his same level.
Yeah.
The Colorado Avalanche would have allowed 50-ish more goals than they did last season.
That's a lot.
So you might not want to do that, Colorado. That might be a bad idea.
That is a lot.
That is a lot of losses.
Yeah. Wow.
So, in my opinion...
Bye-bye Jack Adams.
Yeah, exactly.
For Patrick Waugh.
Patrick Waugh probably isn't still there.
And then hello Mike Babcock with the Jack Adams that he deserves.
Exactly. If I'm the Colorado Avalanche, I don't do anything. Because a 9-0... Anybody you're going to get right now, unless you're making a trade with the Leafs for Reimer, who at this point I don't think they're going to trade, because he's played a lot better than Bernier to start the year, although Bernier did have a technical almost shutout last night. Unless you're making a trade, the odds are you're going to get better replacement level goaltending from your AHL guys than you will from anybody else out there right now. So stick with what you got. Don't kill yourselves even more than you're going to probably get killed this year anyways because of goaltending issues. Like, don't start trading away your stars because things are going to start looking bad, because they're going to look bad anyways. Just deal with it and move on. Talking a little bit more about looking bad.
I think I know where this is going.
Florida Panthers did not look so good the other day. And it wasn't their production on ice, even though that's not hot.
No.
They had a home game last week. I think it was Sunday night, so right after we recorded.
Their second home game.
Second home game. Well, their home opener, they had 11,000 people.
Yeah.
That's not good.
No.
The MTS Centers hold 15,000, and we're small. They had 7,300-ish people at a home game. I think we got a picture of that Neil's trying to pull up here and put on our screen here. That is not very many people.
No.
What conclusions do you come to of this, Joe?
Well, I don't know what the ticket distribution is like. It could hopefully for the Florida Panthers, going from a completely optimistic point of view, hopefully they've got a decent amount of tickets sold and maybe people aren't just showing up.
Actually, I wasn't going to get into this just yet. Yeah, there's the picture of it if you're watching it on YouTube. There are more people at Moose games. Let's just say that.
Man, well, Moose games is the whole lower bowl is full plus some in the top.
Yeah, well, that was playoffs. Usually it was lower bowl looking much more than this.
Yeah.
But it was usually like those main sections along the side were usually pretty full. Corners weren't great most of the time, but the behind the net was at least usually full. Keep in mind, you can't really see the 300s. Apparently there was some people up there. But they have like, at Moose games they used to have the curtains.
Yeah.
They have that in sections of this arena now.
Oh,
they've lowered their sellout number because they aren't letting people buy those super cheap seats. Going off what you were saying before you kind of continue, Elliot Friedman wrote in his 30 thoughts this week. Did you get a chance to read it at all?
I read some of it, but I didn't read it all.
He was bringing it up in kind of the entrance thing. I'm just gonna kind of briefly talk about the story that he wrote. He brings up first this whole thing 17 years ago. The Hamilton Bulldogs, who they were in a contract dispute with the Phoenix Coyotes, they had this original idea to designate one home game as OT night, where this player who had the initials OT scored the game-winning goal in overtime. Everyone who was in attendance would get a free ticket to the game. Sounds like a lovely thing, but the idea was rejected. The Oilers at the time ran that team, and they didn't want to do it. They believed very strongly that a person who paid full price for a ticket should never be able to turn or hear someone near them, "Oh, I got this ticket for free."
Yeah.
Because then you're sitting there like, well, why the hell am I doing this?
Yeah.
He goes on to say he had disagreed with this idea for years. He thought, well, whatever. Like, if you win the ticket, you win the ticket. If you get it from a buddy, like, whatever, it happens. And then he said he was at a Panthers home game about 2 years ago. He said there was a fan, and he apparently was very happy telling people he was a dentist. And he had seats right up along the glass. But there was obviously, as we can see here, this obviously is one always looked like. But there were plenty of empty seats around him. He wasn't paying enough attention. There was a guy who was kind of ushering people around and moving these fans down and letting people sit where they wanted to, basically. And he obviously wasn't paying very much attention because this dentist guy would go and buy something, and twice in the same game he came back and someone else was sitting in his seat that this usher had moved people down.
Oh, really?
From wherever they were sitting into his seats, and he eventually just freaked out.
Well, yeah.
Friedman said, and he was there yelling stuff like, "I've had these tickets for years. Why do I even bother? People get in here for free. But why am I even paying for these tickets?"
Yeah.
Season ticket holder now getting pissed off, knowing that people can get into these games for free. And what's the point? This year, then basically that was Elliot Friedman's that's why they didn't do the idea. That makes sense to me. He kind of keeps on talking and says this year, the Panthers have said officially, no freebies.
Yeah.
0. We're not giving away any tickets, nothing. This is done. You're only getting in the arena if you've paid for your ticket. The NHL knows this. The Florida Panthers know this. And because of this, they're ready for that. They're ready for the fact that no one's going to be at these games, and it's going to look bad.
Like that.
It's going to be spun negatively. It's going to look brutal. But you can know for a fact that every person in that arena has paid for their ticket.
That's good.
And
it's better than having, it doesn't look great on the surface, but it's better than having a ton of people getting in for free, because that's not really doing much for
exactly.
you.
And
maybe concession sales.
The thing is, it's not just they play in Miami. It's not just the Panthers that struggle. The Heat, do they not? If it wasn't for LeBron James, Neil, do the Heat not have some ticket sale issues for the most part? Like I remember,
they still did with him.
Exactly.
People would show up late first quarter and leave early fourth.
Yeah, and like Friedman talks about how even football, like the Miami Hurricanes, the college football, they're desperate for people to come to their games. Like people, especially around this time of year in Florida, they don't go to sporting events, and you're seeing it right now. Tampa Bay is a little different, obviously. They do pretty well in the gate and stuff like that, but they were ready for this in Florida. It's happened in Canada too, where teams have looked pretty bare before. The Sens don't do so great with their attendance. It does look very bad, but apparently ownership they're on it. They aren't ready to sell. They're sticking to it. They want to turn this around. They want to make this work. So, knowing that, what kind of conclusions do you come off to this?
it's not as bad as it seems, I guess. I mean, whenever you're expecting it, I guess it's kind of helps.
Yeah, in a way, yeah.
It's not a good thing. I mean, you never want to have a more than half empty stadium. I mean, that sucks for the players. It sucks for the fans who bought the tickets because they're having a crappy atmosphere. It's just kind of no fun for everyone. But I mean, that, like you said, it's the reality right now. So I mean, it sucks, but I mean, at least they were ready for it.
Yeah. I don't know, because first of all, goddamn Sens fans, help them out. It's brutal. They played both games against the Sens, and it just wasn't very good turnout. Yeah. At least when the Leafs go there, they look pretty good, and they somewhat help them out. But yeah, like I'm not convinced that they're going anywhere anytime soon. I've never really been convinced of that. Again, it's Florida, TV markets, stuff like that. It's gonna help sell it. Them and the Lightning, I'm pretty sure, have 2 different TV deals. It brings in a lot of money. It's a big market. There's a lot of people that live in that area.
Oh yeah.
So I don't see this being, obviously blackouts and stuff like that are going to start happening, and they're going to do what they can. I went on to the Florida Panthers SB Nation site while this was going on, and the people who were typing and writing in their stuff, they were all like, this looks terrible. This has got to be the lowest amount we've ever had. A lot of them are saying, I'm pissed off I couldn't be there, blah, 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 blah. And a lot of them are talking about how they just couldn't make it to that game and stuff like that. I'm not saying that would nearly fill up the arena. There are fans down there, not a lot apparently, but they got to turn it around. And I think I come to a lot of conclusions that they've had a bad team forever. Yeah. They've never really had a good team. So start there, win games.
Well, and when they made the playoffs, which was
a long time ago. Well, they won it. They won a couple years ago when they did win. Division.
They did quite well in terms of attendance at that point, and the fans were really into it. And I remember they had because they do like the rats throwing their
that was like way back in the 90s or whatever it was, and they first came to the league. They had bands that came to their playoff games.
Yeah, exactly.
So like as a whole, what do you think is gonna help fix it?
I mean, I don't know what marketing is like there, but I mean, you start selling the team more, get it out there. I mean, I've heard stories of not even necessarily Florida, but NHL teams in U.S. cities where there's other major sports. People will ask people on the streets, oh, what do you think about the Panthers? And they're like, I don't even know what the Panthers are. Like, you can live in the city and not even know that there's an NHL team. So maybe
step up your advertisement.
Step up your advertisement, market the team a lot more. Do what a lot of other teams are doing now and get a bigger social media presence going, because obviously that drives a lot of things. But the demographic is a little bit different in Florida too. I mean, you got a lot of old people. Not saying that old people don't like hockey, but you don't have that same demographic of 30 somethings who have a lot of money and want to go to sporting events and buy tons of beer and hot dogs and whatnot.
You got to make it it's one of those things where you can't go to a Panthers game and leave thinking, wow, I got treated like crap. Mm-hmm. You have to sell more than just the hockey team, because right now they're not very good. And I think winning would help. And I think Connor McDavid potentially going there would greatly help. Yeah. Like, if they win... Could you imagine if the Florida Panthers won the Connor McDavid sweepstakes? And how instantly people would be like, that's a fix. They're trying to fix it in Florida. Like, something's going on there. Yeah. Especially, isn't the draft down there, too, this year?
I'm not sure where the draft is,
Nearly want to figure out where the draft is
for
the NHL this year. Could you imagine if that was it? Draft is in Florida.
Oh, man.
They get Connor McDavid.
They had their worst attendance numbers ever.
Well, because remember when Tampa, they weren't doing so great, and they got Stamkos and that whole scene. Have you seen Stamkos? Do you remember any of that? That huge media thing in Tampa where seen Stamkos, blah, blah, blah. It is in Florida, Neil?
Yep, there in BB&T Center.
There you go. So, man, the stage is being set.
Stage is set.
I love it.
So...
Confirmed here first on JetStream.
The Panthers will win the NHL draft lottery. So
they're calling it.
Yeah. I don't know.
Sound insane.
Yeah.
I want to see them.
That's what the Buffalo Sabres are saying right now.
Yeah.
You sound insane.
They're like, no, he's ours.
He's ours.
They've been dancing him around a lot. They had some they had a prospect thing going on. He's been in Buffalo a lot.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's weird.
Surprised.
Damn, my phone's going crazy right now. Stop talking
you're a
to
popular
people.
guy.
Jeez, it's some group message. But yeah, I don't know. I want to see him turn it around. But let's change the sides a little bit here. Let's go from a very bad team to a new segment we have.
Okay.
That Neil thought up off of some great JetStream fantasy Hockey League spinoff here. Joe's great team of the week.
We got our own little theme music for Joe's great team of the week.
You have your own theme.
This
music.
is your music,
This
Joe.
is my music. You're right. This is
This
my
is
moment. This is my moment in the spotlight.
Don't screw it up.
Yeah. Well, pressure's on now. Anyways, for this year, the inaugural
First ever.
The inaugural Joe's Team of the Week.
Great team.
Great Team of the Week, sorry. Oh man, I even wrote that down wrong. Okay, I'm screwing it up already, guys.
You've already ruined the entire segment, Joe.
Sorry, I'm just gonna go home.
Yeah, just leave.
Joe's Great Team of the Week.
This is your moment. You
For
screwed
this
up.
week, LA Kings are my nomination for this year's Great Team of the Week. For the reasons are twofold. First of all, there was the Twitter interaction between. Actually, this kind of ties into what I was just saying about teams upping their social media presence. The LA Kings were one of the first ones to sort of
That's very true.
give the reins of their Twitter account to somebody with an imagination,
Yeah.
instead of just being all political
The
and
music just really changed up on us.
I don't know what's going on with this, but whatever. We're just gonna go with
This is
it.
excellent.
We're gonna go with the music. But yeah, anyways, the LA Kings were one of the first teams to really go with, getting somebody to run that Twitter account and be
Yeah.
interactive and fun and everything. And so they started it with the trash talking of other teams' Twitter accounts during the playoffs.
Was it like the Vancouver Canucks?
I think it
during
might have been the
playoffs?
Canucks.
They first started beaking them.
Yeah, and that was the kind of where it started. And now other teams are doing it. Columbus has stepped up their social media game. Vancouver does it a lot. There's a couple other teams that are
Just
in it.
got a little bit better, but they're nowhere near that level.
Yeah, no, they made some additions to their social media team in the offseason, I think the Jets did,
Yeah.
but it's not quite at that level. Anyways, the LA Kings are one of the first ones. Actually, the guy who runs the LA Kings social media Twitter account got a picture with the cup. Like, he got a ring and the cup.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I
They
remember
just
seeing.
throw those things around now.
I remember seeing a picture of him, and it was like on the Twitter account. It was him holding the cup with like a champagne, and he had a ring. And it's like, you know what? You kind of deserve that. Not
Yeah.
really, but kind of.
You didn't really do much.
No, you didn't do anything, but you're still hilarious.
Yeah, but everyone follows you guys.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. Anyways, so their Twitter account this year did a classic, and Edmonton Oilers also started to do this Twitter stuff, and they're kind of new at it now. This is sort of their first year they've been doing more interactive stuff.
Yeah.
So they thought, let's burn the kings of the Twitter game, which are the LA Kings.
Yeah.
Let's burn them good. So they had when Edmonton was in LA for their game last week, they were practicing at the LA practice facility, and I guess they were doing slap shots or whatever, and some guy hit the glass behind the net with a clapper and cracked it. It didn't fully destroy the net. Here, we got a picture of it up here. So there's a crack. It's kind of spider webbed behind the net there.
They broke it.
So yeah, and so the Edmonton Oilers Twitter account was like, "Oh, we're gonna get them good," and they sent a tweet to the LA Kings Twitter account saying, "Oh, looks like we may have broken your practice facility at LA Kings." And so, everybody's like, "Ooh, burn," right? And then the LA Kings come back and tweet, "Yeah, not surprised with how often you guys miss the net." What? Oh, and then they put like, yeah, that's a burn. Yeah, horns for the LA Kings. Yeah, so
That's a
that's
sweet practice facility. All
It's
those
nice,
pictures.
yeah, it's
That's
very
actually
Yeah,
awesome.
I was gonna say the same thing.
it's really cool. Like when you win Stanley Cups, I
Every
guess you
team
do
coming
that.
to practice. Hey, look what we won recently,
Yeah.
dicks.
Oh, that's totally why they do
Oh,
it.
totally.
Absolutely.
All the old.
Hey, look at all these guys you're about to play. They just
Yeah.
won the Stanley Cup.
Have fun beating them.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, and then they, along with that beak, they tweeted out a gif of the guy from Parks and Recreation. I don't watch the show too much, so I can't remember the character's name. But he's just like him saying something and then dropping the mic and walking away, and it was just perfect.
That's fantastic.
So that is the first reason of why they are my team of the week. Just because their guy who runs their Twitter account is fun and has good times with that. The second reason, which is kind of ties into some past JetStream podcasts, which is the dog of Anze Kopitar, Mr. Gustel.
We got to see Gusto.
Yes. Gustel Kopitar.
Yeah, he's
they
at
tweet-
practice.
They tweeted out, the LA Kings Twitter account tweeted out.
No, that one was their mascot.
Oh, sorry,
Twitter
yeah,
account.
Bailey LA.
Who's
LA
also
Kings
great on
Bailey
Twitter.
or whatever. Yeah, he tweeted out.
Look at Gusto.
He tweeted out, Gustel is at practice, and then a picture of Anze Kopitar's dog on
Just
the
watch
boards.
it. Ah, this
And then-
is the best picture ever.
And then one of the best pictures I think I've ever seen, which is
oh,
Anze
my heart just
Kopitar,
melts when
Yeah.
I see this picture.
which is Anze Kopitar in full equipment, holding his dog in his arms on the ice,
Oh, this is adorable.
and the dog is just
It
like,
doesn't even look real.
yeah, the dog is just like, yeah,
That's right. I'm Gustel. I eat out of mini Stanley Cups.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I am that awesome.
yeah,
Oh.
Kopitar, yeah, exactly. And so I don't know, that was just fantastic. So the LA Kings Twitter account gave me 2 real
Plus
gems.
Stanley Cup champs. So.
Yeah, 2 real gems to enjoy on social media, and you know what? They're pretty good at hockey too. So I'm gonna give them my inaugural.
Hold on, Joe. No, Joe. They're pretty good.
They're pretty great.
There you go.
They're pretty great at hockey and pretty great overall. So I'm going to give them my inaugural Joe's Great Team of the Week because they're great.
All right. Congratulations, LA Kings. You are the first ever Great Team of the Week.
Yeah, your medal and trophy and everything are coming.
They're in the mail.
Yeah. Feel free to put it right next to the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, that's right up there.
Yeah.
Well, on the Oilers, the topic of the Oilers, I'm feeling really shaky about my whole not getting jerseys thrown on the ice thing right now.
Good thing we didn't bet about the Leafs. They've already had 2.
Yeah. Apparently, this is just a thing now to throw your jerseys on the
It's
rink,
a fad.
which is, first of all, just stupid. I mean,
yeah.
That's a lot of money.
That's
and
so dumb.
you know,
even if your team sucks, like, just don't wear the jersey.
You're such a great
At least
person.
keep it, and maybe one day they'll be good and you can break it out again. But if you throw it on the ice, that's $300 down the drain. If you've got like the pro stitching and everything.
If you want to know my thoughts on throwing jerseys on ice, go watch Steve Dangle's video after the first game against Detroit. After a Leafs fan, they've played 4 games at that point, and they were 2-2. And you throw your jersey on the ice.
I think that gives even more proof of that. It's just a fad.
It's
obviously.
so stupid. Like, at least when the Oilers did it, when the Oilers fan did it the first time, it actually meant something because like
that was
they were
serious.
Like, he was just like, "I'm done."
They were in the depths.
Goodbye.
They were in the depths of despair.
Exactly. And Oilers fans pretty much deserve the right to throw it.
Yeah.
Which is why it should not happen because they aren't as brutal as they're playing right now. I promise.
Yeah.
We get better. But so please don't. I don't want to lose this bet to Joe. But I mean,
make it 2 losses in a row.
Yeah. Anyways, coming off of this, there's speculation that James Reimer might become an Oiler, which makes me hassa sad.
Yes.
Please don't go to the Oilers,
Well,
James Reimer. Please don't. For 2 reasons. One, because I want him in Winnipeg. James Reimer become a Jet.
Yes.
Not an Oiler. 2.
If you're not going to be a Jet, you probably want him to still be a Maple Leaf.
Yes, exactly. 2. Then Ben Scrivens will not play games.
Yes. Oh.
And there are no good goalies. I've scoured the depths of the JetStream Fantasy Hockey League available goaltenders, and there's no one left.
Excellent.
So please do not give up on Ben Scrivens this early. It'd be so stupid. Please don't.
Fantastic.
No.
Yeah.
I am so screwed if they do it.
So scared.
Although technically we only need our goalies to play 2 games a week. So as long as Corey Schneider plays, and then I'll lose games started every week. But Corey Schneider's playing pretty decent. Oh no, actually he's been but
I drafted Corey Schneider in my work fantasy league. So
yeah, there you go. And you just your work fantasy league team is amazing, by the way.
Yep.
But yeah, one other thing the Oilers have done, which makes me kind of scratch my head a little bit. They scratched Jeff Petrie of all people. Who let's just cover this for a second here. He's a right-handed defenseman for the Oilers. So yeah, maybe their defense hasn't been so great. They've been shelled a lot. They've given up like more than 5 goals pretty much every game. Except for I think last night. He plays decently tough minutes for the Oilers. But he's posted positive relative number on the Oilers. He's a positive guy on defense.
Rare.
And you're scratching him. He's the 1 year, I think it was the only year he wasn't a relatively positive guy on that team. Why him? Why? That makes no sense. So
you can bench pretty much anyone on the team.
Oh yeah, but still, like him, like he's one of their better defensemen.
Yeah. And
if you're not gonna play him, and if he's gonna be your biggest problem, trade him. He's a UFA next year. You do not want to piss off the defensemen you have that are not terrible. That is you need defensemen, Edmonton. That is your biggest issue. Don't piss the ones you have that are good off. And if you're going to, trade them now. And Chevy, if you were listening to this, if the Oilers are at all thinking about trading Jeff Petrie, go get him! Go get him right now. You have a big defensive issue.
Oh, yeah.
So pick up the phone, call Craig McTavish, and be like, hey, you know what? We'll give you anybody. Because you could use everybody.
Yeah.
We'll give you TJ Galliardi. I'll give that up. Fine. I'll give him up. Butt Flynn's apparently forever going to be a forward anyways.
Yeah.
Give us Jeff Petrie. Give us something. Shore up that right-hand side a little bit. Shore up anything a little bit. We'll be good. There you go. Such confusion. Anyways, so last kind of topic we're going to get on here before we call it a day. We didn't talk about this last week for whatever reason, probably because there hadn't been too many games yet. We've had a decent amount to watch here. Rogers, Sportsnet, all that kind of obviously big deal in the offseason. How do you think they've done so far, Joe?
I think they did okay. I mean, I love the fact that I can watch almost all the games.
Yeah, it is pretty sweet.
It's nice. That's because, I mean, a lot of the times last year and years past, pick up your phone and say, oh, let's check the score, see who's playing tonight. And, there's like 6 or 7 games going on. And you're like, oh, let's go on. There's got to be something on TV. Nothing. But at least now, you get a little bit more of those American market games, which is nice. I like to see those.
And you can watch a lot more if you're... It's nice for Jets fans particularly because we get Jets games for free. Yes. Plus we get a lot of the other teams' games, so you can pretty much watch whatever you want.
As far as like game content, I love it because I can watch lots of games.
Yeah. I mean, the analysts could be a little bad. Paul Romanuk being back, first of all, is fantastic.
Scores!
It is awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
He called that Friday Night Leaf game, and I was just like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And honestly, oh crap, what's his name? He used to be the host on CFL and TSN. Randorf. I've listened to some of his. He's actually a decent play-by-play guy. I don't hate him I hate him much less as a play-by-play guy than I do as a host.
Head of CFL and TSN.
Yeah, he's decent, talking quickly.
I haven't heard anything about sports. I haven't heard him yet.
The new camera angles as well. Yeah, they're overplaying this ref cam thing a little bit.
Absolutely.
But some of the shots you get are like, again, Leaf talk here. When Rick Nash, he scored a goal on a break. They talked about this in the Steve Dangle podcast a little bit. He got a goal on a 2-on-1 against the Leafs, and it was such a cool perspective watching it from the ref cam because it was just like, he's like, fuck it, I just need to keep up with the play. And he was watching it the whole way down. You got a whole new angle of him just, I think it's on, Neil, if you actually want to look it up and watch it, it is unreal.
Yeah, no, that's exactly
it's on sportsnet.ca. I think it should be on YouTube too, but it's like a perfect view and angle of watching this goal go, and you're just like, that was sick to watch from that angle.
It was funny, the first game that Rogers broadcast where they had all these new angles, and they were showing the refs kind of talking before the game, and the other 2 refs that didn't have the helmet cam on were just beaking the main ref.
Watching
him like, nice camera, bud, and he's like,
It's gonna be fun. It won't be fun, but it will also be a lot of fun at the same time somehow to watch the first time in the playoffs when a ref blows a call.
And it's super obvious.
And he's looking right at it.
Yeah.
And it's like, how did you either A, not see that? Yeah, this is it, Kay. If you're watching on YouTube, watch this. This is so sick.
This is unbelievable.
Look at that. How sick is that view?
That's sweet.
And then you see the hand come in. It's like, yeah, that's a goal.
Wow, that is so cool.
That is awesome.
Yeah,
Let's take that back.
That's really cool because that's a view you'll never get from any camera other than one on a ref's head.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Could you imagine, like, that's his view for every game, every goal. He gets to, like, watch it up close. Like, that's so sick.
Yeah.
Like,
very cool. Good for the NHL for innovating there and doing that.
I just hope they don't completely get rid of it the first time. There's very blatantly, or even if, like, and again, they brought this up in Steve Dangle podcast, that one time where something big happens over here and the ref's looking over there.
Classic.
And they go to cut to that angle and he's not even watching the puck. And it's something else going on that he's looking at.
Yeah.
And it's just brutal. And the ref gets scrutinized. And luckily, the refs in the NHL just came to a new CBA. Because I feel like if it was next year and a ref gets picked apart because of something like that, there's a huge other side of how much money they want. Yeah. That every single call they get now can be so blatantly scrutinized with those cams.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think they're always wearing them, but it's the it's the Leafs versus the Rangers that you get them for. The big market games where everybody's watching that gets these camera angles and oof.
And they had a little, like, crotch angle penalty box one, which is hilarious.
Yeah. There's one that they don't show a lot of that I know. Again, the one thing I hate is that a lot of these camera angles, if you want to watch online, you have to be a Rogers subscriber. I would honestly pay a little bit extra to be able to get it anyways. Especially for what I'm doing with these goaltending tracker things, because there's cameras directly above each net, and it's just solo on the goalie the whole time.
Cool.
And you can watch the entire game with, if you had all these Rogers features, you could be watching the game, but on the sides of your screen, you could have a camera that directly watches the home goalie and directly watches the away goalie, and you can watch how they're tracking the play and everything like that. Which, first of all, is going to completely innovate goaltender tracking and watching what do the good goalies do versus the not so good goalies. How much movement do they have in their net? You now have a single camera watching them the entire game.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Which is awesome to watch, which we don't see nearly enough of. but yeah, like that's the one complaint I have because I pay for Rogers Game Center Live. I do like usually because I don't get every Leaf game in the past. I'm not going to use it as much for Leafs specifically this year, but I got to watch like a Blues Kings game the other night, which was a fantastic hockey game.
That's a game that you would never see in a year where
exactly.
Yeah, where we
I mean, it wasn't on TV, but still, like I
but
watched
that kind
it
of game could be on TV.
Yeah, there's a chance it'd be on TV.
As opposed to that would never be on TV.
It'll start getting pushed up, especially when playoffs start coming and there's fights for divisions and stuff. You can have 7 games on and keeping track.
Yeah.
But it does annoy me that despite the fact that I'm paying for it, I'm still not getting all the features out of it because Rogers wants to. Obviously, it's their way of being like, hey, become a Rogers customer. Look what else you can get.
Yeah.
Fine, but I'll pay you extra $20 or $30 to get those views.
Features, yeah.
So you should. I just wish that would be an option because how much more money are you really making off of just the Rogers customers getting this? Like,
I don't know.
Not very many. I very seriously doubt people are going to start getting Rogers internet just so they can get the extra camera angles.
Seems like
but
a pretty big commitment just to get a couple extra camera angles
for 80 or whatever games you're probably
Yeah.
going to watch on there. Like, whatever. But yeah, that if that's my biggest complaint, fine. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Being able to watch more games. One in particular I do want to actually bring up, that Habs Bruins game. Did you watch that at all? I'm sure that probably would have been on TSN just because it's the Habs and whatnot. Milan Lucic is such a prick. Did you see his little... Did you hear about that, Neil?
No.
He got a penalty, and obviously it's Milan Lucic. Habs fans cannot stand Milan Lucic. And after this happened, I got texts from a couple of Habs fans just being like, I fucking hate that guy. He's the worst human on the face of the earth. He got a penalty, and obviously all the Habs fans in the arena are just mocking him and chanting at him. He gets into the penalty box, makes a little jerk-off motion to the fans in the front row, and then just like, yeah, bring it on. So he's like a huge tool. But I want to know, Joe, what do you think of Milan Lucic?
What do I think of Milan Lucic? When he is on his game, unreal. Like, he'll physically dominate you, he'll score goals, and he'll piss you off at the same time. Yeah. Like, not just piss you off because he's scoring goals, but he'll piss you off in a personal way as well. Yeah. And, I mean, that's a powerful tool to have. And the Bruins have a couple guys like that. Marchand is another one. So, I mean...
way.
Sorry?
It's the Bruins way. It's the Boston way. Let's be honest
exactly. And, I mean... You know, there's a certain amount of respect that goes along with that. I mean, that's a role that you play and you do a good job of it. But I mean,
when he's destroyed teams in their path because of it.
When he's
off Buffalo.
Yeah, when he's off of his game, it's pretty bad because he does stuff like this. Where I don't think he's scored that yet this year, and now he's getting frustrated and doing these things that make him look like a total idiot.
Yeah.
And actually, he got fined. I can't remember what the number was, $6,000 or $5,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
And Steve Dangle actually tweeted out after he did the little calculations and found out that him getting fined with his salary, getting fined $5,000 or $6,000 or whatever it was, is the equivalent to somebody who makes $60,000 a year being fined $33. Not even,
kind of a pain in the butt.
Not even a parking ticket.
Yeah,
not even the cost of a parking ticket. So, I mean, that makes me go to the NHL and be like, you guys are stupid.
Well, that's the CBA too, right? Because the players are like, hey, you can't fine us more than this.
Yeah, but like, that's brutal. $5,500. Like, that's not even a slap on the wrist. Anyways, when he's on his game, from a neutral standpoint, it's great to watch because you're like, oh yeah, this guy's totally kicking ass and taking names. And then when he's off, it's kind of hilarious because you're like, wow, this guy's falling apart.
Yeah. I found it hilarious, but also really strange that him and Brendan Gallagher are like best friends. That's really weird to me.
So weird.
It is super weird to me. Especially, well, they are the same kind of player in my opinion.
But you can see those kind of personalities like clashing
exactly.
really badly.
It seems like the kind of thing that on the ice they would just instantly like. It seems to me like on the ice they would get into such kind of crap at one another that you could not be friends off of it. But apparently they're just best buds.
Whatever.
Personally, as a Leaf fan, I cannot stand the guy.
Obviously, yeah.
But I also kind of love him. It's the same thing with PK Subban, except for different reasons.
Yeah.
Like, I love cheering for that guy that everybody fucking hates, except for Brendan Gallagher, because I hate that little prick. I want to punch him in the face. But I don't know what it is. It's kind of like, I'm that kind of guy. I don't know. I watch Star Wars and I'm like, Darth Vader, you're so badass.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not like, yay, Luke. I'm like, Darth, just choke him out, please. Just do it. Just choke him.
He's a little bitch.
Just choke him. Seriously though, like I'm like whenever I played like any sort of Star Wars video game, I'm like, obviously I'm gonna rule the world. Like I want the Death Star on my side.
Yeah, man, Death Star's badass.
I cheer for the Leafs for goodness sake. Obviously, I like the huge just like Oh yeah, we rule. Except again, it's so controversial because I hate the Yankees for that reason. But I don't know, like something about them. It's just, I hate you, but it's I have such respect for you, man.
Yep.
It's like that Donald Glover sort of. Have you seen that skit where he's talking about the Kanye concert that could have been? Kanye, concert.
It's so
Kanye
funny.
and Lady Gaga thing. And he's like playing
Kanye's
and he's playing the piano. But it's not really a piano. It's a wild bear. And the bear's like, I want to eat you. Oh, but you're Kanye West. I have such respect for you, bro. That's exactly what it is.
It's one of the funniest bits ever.
It's so funny. He's playing a piano. He's on a pedestal, but it's not really a piano. It's a bear. It's a live bear. The bear's like, I want to eat you, but you can't because you're Kanye West. And man, respect for you, man. Oh, it's so funny. But that's how I feel with Milan Lucic. Like, I want to hate you, but I have so much respect for you. I can't hate you. Don't win Stanley Cups, and I can just hate you freely.
Yeah, exactly.
It's exactly how I feel about him. Let's do the spelling bee, Joe.
Sure.
Let's get some spelling bee going here.
I have this feeling in the back of my head that we might have done this one before, but I also don't think we have. So I'm just going to throw this out there. Curtis McElhaney, have we done that?
I don't think so.
Okay.
So let's get some music going here.
All right, sweet. I was really worried for a second.
I don't think we've done it.
Okay, so Curtis McElhaney is backup goalie for the Columbus Blue Jackets. He actually just got injured when they played the Sens on Saturday, so it sucks for him. But
Screw you, pesky Sens.
actually, it was his own teammate that injured him.
I don't care. Screw you, pesky Sens.
Okay. Anyways, yeah. So Curtis McElhaney.
Curtis
That doesn't look right.
McElhaney.
McElhaney.
It doesn't look right. I know this.
This is one that you think you know, and then you're like, wait, I don't know it, because that was me. I was like, oh yeah, it's McElhaney, and then I was like, oh wait, no.
I know it's spelt really stupid.
All right.
Okay, Neil, what do you got?
Curtis, C-U-R-T-I-S.
Yeah.
McElhaney. I'm going to switch it up a little bit here. M-A-C-H-O-L-A-N-E-Y.
Okay. Travis?
Curtis McElhaney. McElhaney. Okay. Curtis is C-U-R-T-I-S.
Okay.
I don't think there's an A, but I think there's one in a weird spot.
Oh, this is gonna kill Travis.
I know it's MC.
Okay.
I know it's E-L-H. Oh, is there an A there or not?
Travis is gonna explode.
A-I-N-N-E-Y.
Sorry, H-A...
Sorry, okay. M-C-E-L-H
Yep.
A-I-N-N-E-Y.
N-N-E-Y. Okay. So, both of you are wrong.
It's E-L-H-I-N-N-E-Y, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fudge!
So Travis was one
Putting the swear jar in anyways.
one vowel too much.
We suck.
We do.
Yeah, so it's Curtis is right, but McElhaney is M-C-E-L-H-I-N-N-E-Y.
Get out of here.
McElhaney. So, interesting fact about McElhaney. It's not really an interesting fact about him, but about the teams he's played for. Which goes interestingly with the spelling bee theme. He played for the AHL affiliate of the Flames when he got drafted, which at that time was the Omaha Aksar Ben Knights.
Omaha.
Sounds like Akbar's Kazan.
Yeah, which is why I thought it was hilarious. But Aksar Ben is actually Nebraska backwards, which is
What?
Omaha, Nebraska. Aksar Ben. I don't get it, but that's what it was.
That was their team name.
That was their team name, and which later merged with the Quad City Mallards to form the current squad that is the Quad City Flames, which are the AHL affiliate of the Calgary Flames.
Not sure why they got rid of the Mallards.
So
Couldn't
you
they
got
just be like the Fighting Ducks or
so
something?
you got the Aksar
like-
Ben Knights and the Mallards, and you get Quad City Flames.
So it wasn't a city called Aksarben. The team name was Aksarben.
No, they're the Omaha Aksar Ben Knights, and Aksar Ben is Nebraska backwards, and Omaha's in Nebraska, so they're Omaha Nebraska Knights, but Nebraska's backwards. Aksar Ben.
Why?
Why would you do that?
I don't know, but that's what it is.
Neil, I think I saw you pulled up that Donald Glover thing.
Are you gonna watch that?
Can you please
I'm kind
play
of
it?
curious.
It's so funny.
We got to put the sound on. You want to grab that?
Yeah. Okay. Well,
We're
while
gonna-
you're doing this,
We're gonna play this.
set this up, and then we're gonna talk about our fantasy league.
Oh, yeah, okay. Let's do
Because
that.
we need to do a little bit of update. It looks like Joe's gonna beat me,
Yeah.
which is lame.
Joe's
He's up
great
9-4.
team for the win.
You dominated me in assists,
Damn right.
and all the special team stuff. You're beating me.
Yeah.
So basically, I need absolutely monster games from both Joe Bowmeister and Blake Wheeler.
Joe Bowmeister.
I mean Jay Bowmeister.
I'm in your head, Travis.
Yeah. Fuck. For this to turn out positively for me, so I'm not banking on that. Neil though got his butt kicked by Fuck Corsi. It's 11-1 right now, and the only statistical category that Neil is winning is saves.
Decent.
Pavlik, baby!
Who's your other goalie?
Henrik Lundqvist. Wow, Pavlik is outplaying Henrik Lundqvist immensely.
Pavlik, baby! First
Immensely.
round
Wow.
pick.
Never would have guessed that.
Yeah, it's not even close.
So we can expect those to kind of level off at some point.
Yeah, for sure. Or just completely flip each other around.
Yeah.
Next week though, RB.
Who?
I'm coming for you, bro.
Oh, Travis went. Who am I?
I'm playing RB.
I'm-
You're playing Don't Tase Me, bro.
Oh, okay.
My buddy Mark.
Yeah.
Neil, you are playing. You're playing Semen Stains.
Oh, baby.
Nice.
It's all Mando. You're taking on Neil next week. I gotta make some lineup changes because David Krejci's off the IR. I gotta take advantage of that. All right, here's the video. Let's play.
Like, as you get older, you can't take any weird stuff. That's just the truth. Like, that Lady Gaga Kanye West tour, I was super stoked about that. That was gonna be so awesome and weird. It's gonna be so crazy. I was having dreams about it. That's how much I was excited about it. I was having dreams about it. I was like, there's gonna be like 2 big pillars on stage, like one big pillar here, and like Lady Gaga's there, and her hair's like blowing in the wind, and she's playing the bass. It's like a huge bass, but the bass isn't a bass. It's just a huge tampon. Just playing a huge. She's plucking out a huge tampon, and at the end of it is Tony Danza's face. Just going like crazy on it, and then like there's another one, there's like another huge pillar, and then like Kanye West is on it, he's playing a piano, but the piano's not a piano, it's just a bear, it's a live bear. For some reason he's playing it, and the bear's not eating Kanye because he has so much respect for him. Oh, I want to eat you, but you made graduation. Man. And then like in the audience there's like a big clear beach ball that everybody's pushing and kicking around, and in the center of the big clear beach ball is just this one lone baby. One lone naked baby. And he's not crying or anything, he's just confused and shit. Why my parents put me in here? They love me. And I was like, yes, that's worth $50. I want to see that. And they canceled it. They got rid of it. They were like, it's too weird, it's gay, I don't get it, get rid of it.
One of our friends actually partied with Donald Glover.
No
Really?
way.
Who?
Emmanuel.
Did he seriously?
Yep.
Oh, was that after he did
Frosh.
Frosh Fest last
Yep,
year?
Last year.
I really wish I would have went to see that. Would've
Oh,
been good.
so good.
He
Guy's
was
legendary.
He was actually like got to hang out in Donald Glover's dressing room.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Or I guess Childish Gambino is who he was at that point.
AKA.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how much respect I have for Milan Lucic.
There you go.
I want to eat you,
But I can't.
but I can't because you made graduation.
Oh yeah.
You want a Stanley Cup, Milan? I can't eat you. I think that's about it for us today.
Yeah.
Now we've got this really weird kind of sidetrack
Yeah, that
episode. I don't know
was-
where that came from.
That was strange.
So if you want to get a hold of us and tell us how to either you want us to never do that again or get more of that. Hashtag Jetstream at JetStreamPod on Twitter. You can also check out the website www.jetstreampodcast.com. Email us at jetstreampodcast@gmail.com. I'm finally getting hooked up with my connections for potentially getting gear next Sunday. I will have a chance to sit down with people that might be getting us clothing and whatnot.
Cool.
So we'll figure that out. I know I'm super jacked. You can talk to me on Twitter at THRUBENIUK. Joe's at JW_Clark20 and Neil's at Neil Noonan, NEILNOONAN. Subscribe and rate to us on iTunes. I was so happy when someone finally tweeted us and said, hey, it worked. I subscribed. And I was like, yes, someone did it. It works. Screw you, Tim, for saying it never works. Take that. We're also looking at adding a couple other segments. We might kind of have a regular... might have Tim come on a bit more often and give us some prospect updates. We got to sort that out with him, so don't yell at him if it doesn't happen. It's probably going to be our fault if it doesn't happen. We're also going to start bringing back some guests for the next coming weeks to get some more people from Arctic Ice Hockey. So check out arcticIcehockey.com. You can find all my stuff that I write there, a lot of other cool stuff. There's game day threads, pregame, postgame, lots of other things for you to check out. Yeah, thank you guys for listening. This is Jets game tonight. They're playing the Calgary Flames. Hopefully Winnipeg doesn't go 0-2 at home against Calgary this week. And yeah, so if you're going to the game, enjoy yourselves. I hope you did enjoy yourself, because this is probably not going to be close until tomorrow.
Hope you had a good time at the game that hasn't
Yeah,
happened
hope
yet.
you had a lot of fun at that game. Hopefully the Jets scored a goal and you got to celebrate. But yeah, for the meantime, go Jets go.